BookTube. When is a library tour not a library tour? When it's not touring a library, when the library is changing as it goes. What is the definition of a useless endeavor? An endeavor without use. Would that be the same thing as recording a video from our imaginary BookTube friends and then attempting to upload it when it's raining? And when it certainly won't upload? Yeah. So what am I doing here in front of this camera playing with these books? I have no idea. No idea at all. We're going to do it anyway. We're just going to continue on. We're going to do it anyway. We're in the awkward corner bookcase here. And we are starting with one Transwise books. These shelves are not wide enough for a real full-size Transwise book, so I have to put the Transwise books in edgewise, which means that when I'm looking at the shelf, absent my memory, I cannot know what this book is. And that is bad. That is very bad. That should not be true. So this needs rearranging, as does everything else in this room. Oh, okay, great. Oh, fantastic. Do I have a pub sheet for this thing? Great. This is the Peterson's Guide to Sparrows of North America. Big, full-color thing, full of... Well, you all know Peterson's Guide. They're absolutely watchword in the industry. This is not meant to be taken into the field with you. This is meant to be consulted at home when you are being bothered in private by house sparrows, which I have a mob of them that are all my own. I feed them regularly. I have for a long time, many generations of their little group, or whatever you call. And I've got to know them really well. Sometimes I will sit out there and watch them. They no longer pay me any mind at all. They're not afraid of me in the least. I feed them in all weathers. So when it's pouring down rain and they can't go out foraging for food, that would otherwise be a hungry day. They don't store food. When it used to snow in Boston, that would mantle the whole ground, sometimes to twice their height, so that there was no way they could hunt on those days either. But I have a space, I have a porch that I can, it is dry in the rain, and it is, back when it snowed in Boston, it was easy to clear off, so that I could keep them fed all day long on the bad days, and also watered, which is every bit as important. And do they thank me for it? No. Are they grateful? No, not at all. No, they're jerks. Then we get to the books on the shelves, all of which are oversized, to take advantage of the height of the shelves that I specifically asked for. And this is Boston Statues by Walter Mule Whitehill, a black and white guide to all the statuary of Boston in all of its locations, and as much of the history of the statue as possible. It's commissioning, who did it, when it went up and why, that sort of thing. There is a public statue that is a Viking longboat right there, and that is Leif Erikson, if you can believe it. And the statue is made to be pointing directly at his old Icelandic home in a straight line. Then we have Robert Latham. This is his illustrated Pepys, Samuel Pepys' diary. This is not a very big thing, and he's done big volume. We've seen in this room, we've seen a big volume of his, an abridgment of Pepys. This is the same thing, an abridgment of Pepys, but it has lots and lots of period illustrations and full-color paintings and photos. There's the Great Fire of London, a whole bunch of other stuff in there, which really helps. When it comes to Pepys, that really helps. Okay. Then we have this big thing that I found. This is a big, I found this last year. This is a big collection of the artwork of Howard Pyle, the great and now forgotten Howard Pyle. This has not only all of his, it has all of his incidental work, all the book plates that he did for friends, all the private illustrations, but also all of the bigger portraits in full color. Just a lovely thing, the type of thing where, there's the artist in his studio. That's why he's wearing a frock, because he doesn't want to get his clothes dirty. But this kind of a thing, really, I wait for them at the Brattle Bookshop here in Boston. I wait for them because this is the kind of book I want on someone like this. Actually, I would take, this has the whole of Pyle's life. It has a careful pictorial record of everything that he ever did. And also those big color plates. And really, I would take that combination for almost any artist over a block, mostly prose biography. I have a whole bunch of artist biographies, but only because I can't find volumes like this on them. Then we have, this is a big thing that I have had on and off. This is A Season of Giants. And the giants are Michelangelo, Raphael, and Leonardo. And this is the companion volume to a TV series. It's beautifully illustrated. And it doesn't have any artwork from the TV series. There was a mini series, I think it was produced in Italy, staffed almost entirely by Italian actors with a bunch of British namers, and all about the Renaissance. It is a weird miniseries. Weird. It has things in it that are very good, and it has things in it that are unbelievably bad. Just unbelievably bad. It has Ian Holm, for instance, a reliably great actor, giving a laughably bad performance. Just a silly performance. It has F. Murray Abraham in a scenery-chewing performance that nevertheless has lots of worth in it. It has John Glover as Leonardo da Vinci. By turns ridiculous and stiff, obviously reading from cue cards right out of view, and also by turns wonderful. It's a weird miniseries. I don't know if it exists anymore, but I got the book because I love the miniseries, watched it with me Saint Ma, and then I realized that I really liked the book, so I'm glad that I have it. It shows up from time to time at the Brattle Bookshop. If you're interested, I'd be happy to look for a copy for you. Then we have a collection of New Yorker cartoonists. I've mentioned before, and you're going to see on this particular corner bookcase, that I really love New Yorker cartoons. I have forever. And in addition to the big collections that the New Yorker regularly does, I also love the individual collections by individual authors, by individual cartoonists. This is a famous one, Peter Arno. This is just full. It has, once again, it has a very serviceable biography, probably the best thing that you'll get from him in terms of a biography, and then all of his artwork, which is just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Then we have a kid's book, which pretty much is as close to a Steve book as you can get. This is Shark Dog, where an explorer and his little girl encounter a weird creature who is part shark and part dog. This is just, I fell in love with this kid's book. I wonder if I have a sheet on this. No, I don't. I fell in love with this as soon as I saw it and could not get enough of it. Okay, then we have another huge owl book. This is Owls of the World. This is not with Natural History of Owls or any of the other owl books that we saw. It's just by itself. This has photographs, it has original artwork, it has maps of distribution and range and whatnot, migration, and it's just wonderful. Worth spending any amount of time just sitting around. Then we have another kind of thing that will really show up. It will show up at the Brattle, but it really won't show up in too many other places unless you get it online. This is the Book of Life, which is Stephen Jay Gould writing about the history of evolution, but it's an illustrated book. It's just full of illustrations, lots and lots of original dinosaur artwork, lots and lots of period artwork as well. Just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. If you want the visuals along with it, and you really do. I really do. Then we have another New Yorker collection. This is B. Toby of the New Yorker. They just explicitly say it in this case. And this is another collection of one New Yorker cartoonist and all of his most famous cartoons. Just fantastic stuff. I love it. Absolutely. Actually, while I'm doing this, let me put this with Peter Arno there. Then we have an older bird book. I love bird books. I absolutely love them. And this is a really good one. This just goes through standard. It's the standard. What is it called? Wings Upon the Heavens. And it's a standard. It's a bigger thing, but it's a standard guide to how you do these bird books, which is to go take a particular species. Here, the peregrine falcon. Look at that artwork. That is just incredible. Take some excerpts from literature where they are mentioned, and then also describe them, and just go through maybe 2 or 3 dozen basic emblematic species. Same thing with this next one. This is John Kieran's book, An Introduction to Birds, which does the exact same thing. Just it's an oversized book that takes you through an illustrated portrait of each bird and a description of what they're like and where you can find them, that sort of thing. Just unapologetically, right? I don't have to, we don't have to apologize for our libraries. I love bird books, and bird books that are big and generous like this, so much the better. Then we have, well, this is an artist retrospect, but it's not a New Yorker artist. This is the great Norman Rockwell, which I got this. I admit, as nice as this thing is a placeholder. There is a Norman Rockwell volume out there that I want. I don't know any of the details of it, so I can't even look it up online and maybe be tempted to buy it on eBay. But I'll know it when I see it. It will show up at the Brattle. It's 5 times this size, and it has a ton of text. Effectively a Rockwell biography in there, but also lots more stuff, which this does not have. This does have some text, but not as much. And I think Rockwell is iconic. As much as I love J.C. Leyendecker, who he robbed right into the grave, I still love Rockwell. And I have this as a placeholder and also as a sign to resist the temptation to get every Rockwell book like this that shows up at the Brattle. I could get one every week. It would be different. I would be left with two bookcases of Rockwell books that don't add anything. I want something like this. There is a book out there for Rockwell that is like this. And I just need to wait. I will find it. It will come to me. Then we have the Saturday Evening Post book of Ships in the Sea. Norman Rockwell. No, you don't have to stray far from him. This has excerpts from the Saturday Evening Post, a whole bunch of different kinds of stories, excerpts from fiction, travelogue type stuff, all that kind of thing that I just, when you're in the mood for it, you really are. And also it breathes with the time period. The Saturday Evening Post, when this book came out, was one of the highest circulation magazines in the country. It offered real money and drew real talent to it, so that it has I think it's still published, but it has a total period flavor to it of when the Saturday Evening Post was a sign that you had arrived. If you got something in the post, you were putting it in front of 2 million readers. And then we'll finish up this shelf with a very oversized thing. This is Seasons at the New Yorker. And this is, someone went through the New Yorker and picked out, I think this is mostly covers. Yeah, this is entirely covers. They went out autumn, the standard, traditional 4 seasons. In this part of the world, they don't exist anymore. We have 2 summers now instead of any of the interstitial spring and autumn type things. But once upon a time, there were 4 distinct seasons, and you could recognize them on sight, and they show up visually as visual iconography on New Yorker covers. So in addition to being fun just because I like New Yorker covers, there's a whole study, we're going to get to it, there's a whole book of New Yorker covers, just that shows all of them. In addition to that, it's also, a little bit poignant because it's 60 degrees here now in mid-March, after a so-called winter that never got cold, that never had snow, haven't had a killing frost in a long, long time. There are children alive today who are going to middle school who have never known a winter in Boston. They've been here the whole time. They've never experienced it. And I don't believe they ever will again. So the 4 seasons at the New Yorker is kind of weird and kind of fun. We're going to move on here because I want to try and get through this corner shelf. It's a little bit awkward. How I'm going to do the next few shelves down below, I have no idea, since my tripod is now a dupod. It only has 2 legs. Let's do the second shelf and just go a little bit faster. So we have a duplicate here, When Were You Built? This is another New Yorker cartoonist, Helen Hokinson. So we already saw that. We don't need to dwell on that. Then we have something from Princeton University Press. This is a visual companion of The Tale of Genji. So this is all of the, here, let me get you a good spread, all of the artwork and various tributes that were done to Genji over hundreds of years. Wonderful to have. Absolutely wonderful. Let's put this back where it was. These will mind their place. Then we have, this is a reprint of Golden Legacy by Leonard Marcus. This is his book. Do I have a sheet on this? Any kind of sheet on this? No. This is his book celebrating the Little Golden Books, which a lot of you will know. A lot of you will know this artwork from your Little Golden Books. There they are. There's a whole spread of them. I got this thing when this was reissued in 2016, I think. Let's see here. Are you going to tell me? Oh my God, look at all the copyright stuff here. 2007. Okay, 2007. And I prevailed on an editor of mine at the time to let me review it, even though it was far afield from what we usually agreed on. I just thought it was so charming that I am on record somewhere for some journal reviewing it lovingly. Then we have something from National Geographic. This is, do I have a sheet in here for you? No? I love these big pictorial things. This is a pictorial guide to the galaxy, the visual galaxy, that has all of their Amazing photography, tons and tons of graphs and charts to show you relative sizes, relative spaces, all kinds of galactic phenomenon. Something that you can really, a book that you can really go back to and just live in. Then we have, this is John Harris, The Architecture of the British Country House. A larger thing that is also longer. This sticks off the bridge of the shelf, and it has floor plans and designer guides, and also pictures, contemporaneous pictures of various English country houses, which is a sweet spot of mine. It is a subject that I really, really like. There are probably a dozen books on English country houses of one kind or another in this little room. It ought to be together, but that's all right. Then we have, this is great. This is illustrated by C.F. Payne. This is his illustrated version of Casey at the Bat. So this is the play, the poem Casey at the Bat, but it's just wonderfully illustrated with these great old faux period illustrations that are just great. I love them. Then another kid's book that I really, really like. I can't recommend it strongly enough. This is Jackie French's book, Diary of a Wombat, which chronicles what a wombat does all day. Monday morning, slept. Afternoon, slept. Evening, ate grass, scratched. Night, ate grass. But then into that relatively peaceful life, the wombat discovers human neighbors, and things are never quite the same after that. It's absolutely delightful. Another kid's book here. We have, this is illustrated by Ted Rand. This is his illustration of the Paul Revere's Ride by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I love Rand's artwork. I think it's just incredible. So I for a while there, I got whatever kid's book I could find by him that was a subject that at all I liked. Same thing with this one. This is by Bill Martin and John Archambault, and this is illustrated by Ted Rand. This is a hardcover. I have a number of different copies of this. This is his book Barn Dance, which is one of my favorite kids' books of all time. That about a skinny kid on a farm. Look at how he does Moonlight. Just incredible. This is about a skinny kid on a farm who's up at night. He's up later than he should be. His head is full of dreams, and he hears music coming from the barn at night. He goes down to investigate. Okay, then we have an older kid's book. This is lovely. This is by Audrey Wood with drawings by Robert Florzak, and this is Birdsong. It's a lovely older thing. I think this came out in the 60s. Oh, kids' books. They can sometimes be a little bit troublesome in terms of when they came out. Oh, here we go. 1997. Okay, and this is just lovely. Absolutely lovely. The artwork all throughout here of various birds. Then a paperback copy of a book that we have seen on this library tour in this room before. This is by Eve Bunting with artwork by David Christiana. This is I Am the Mummy Heb Nefert, which I read. Is my favorite kids book, and I read it when it first came out in the 1990s, 1997, and completely fell in love with it. It moved me so much that I had to get off the sales floor for a minute in order to collect myself. And then in this little block of kids books, we have a paperback of Barn Dance, so that should go with the hardcover. No reason those have to be separate, right? I've got just a little block of kids books here. Oh, including, all right. Well, if you're a Bostonian of a certain age, if you're not 200 years old and so you're automatically thinking Mother Goose, then if you're a Bostonian of a certain age, then when you hear kids' books, you think one book and one book only. And that is this, Make Way for Ducklings, which I have in a number of different editions. This is, of course, the story of a family of ducks in Boston. And it is classic. It has been immortalized. There are statues to it in Boston. It has been read to millions of children. It is wonderful. It is every bit as wonderful as it is billed. Now this next one is what is this? This is one of these bound galleys. What is this? It's called Growing Moral, A Confucian Guide to Life by Stephen Angle. Good Lord. What is this? This is for... Well, this is a bound galley, so this won't have any blurbs by me or anybody else. It doesn't have a pub sheet in it. I think, good Lord, well, that doesn't belong in here. Absolutely, that doesn't belong in here. Then we have the 10 Ever-Loving Blue-Eyed Years with Pogo by Walt Kelly. a nice, wonderful, somebody put a protective jacket on this. This is a wonderful big collection of the Pogo cartoon strip that is fantastic. Walt Kelly is an unsung genius. Pogo is one of the great American comic strips, along with things like Lil Abner or Prince Valiant. Somebody got rid of, at the Brattle, got rid of a whole bunch of Pogo stuff last year. A huge amount, a whole bookcase worth of Pogo stuff. The problem being that a lot of it were cheap paperbacks that won't do any good. They were falling apart on the shelf. So I looked around carefully for a big collection. This is a big, generous collection that is in really good condition and protected, because I go back to these things. I'm still getting over that Bound Galley. What on earth was that doing here? The books in this room. Anyway, then we have, this is by Apostolos Athanakis. This is his translation of the Homeric hymns. Very different from in tone and register from the Iliad and the Odyssey, of course, probably with different authorship, but also a very different translation than any other. I have two other translations. One, the one that was done for Oxford World Classics, can't remember off the top of my head who did that, and one that was done by Golding 500 years ago. And then I've got this thing that is probably the most accurate, although it's the least enjoyable. Okay, well, here we go. We're getting close to the end here. We're well under 30 minutes. This is another example of the kind of thing that I'm talking about. This is by Marguerite Henry, and this is another example of a big bird book. This is Birds at Home. This was a classic once upon a time when this first came out. This was done in 1942 and was really popular. And this does the same thing. It takes you through, there's the blue jay. It takes you through a series of iconic birds. The purple martin. Not many, just econic birds. There is the Baltimore Oriole. And just describes them, in this case for very young readers, so it won't give you much in the way of ecological distribution or anything like that. Let's put you up here so we know where you are. We don't lose track of you. And then to finish up this shelf and this library tour, or whatever the hell this is, I have no idea what this is, the ultimate bird book. I love birds. I absolutely love them. I make no pretense of that. And this is the ultimate bird book, because the subject of birds is great and grand. The subject of the natural world is great and grand. And when it comes to the subject of the natural world, there is only one great, ultimate purveyor, and that is National Geographic. We saw them for the Visual Galaxy, and this is their book, The Splendor of Birds. Oh my God. Oh my God. Artwork and also photography. Tons of stuff in here. I lived with this thing for, I don't know, the better part of a year when this came out. I lived with it. I could not be separated from it, even in the bathroom. When did this come out? Let's see here. I have the pub sheet. This came out in 2018. And is the ultimate, the ultimate bird book, of course, because it's National Geographic. So there you go. Not all the bird books together. I really ought to spend a minute, now that I'm done, and just pull all these things off these oversized shelves and put all the bird books together on one of these. They'd probably fit. All the oversized ones would probably fit on one shelf, but that would require pulling books up from the shelves that we haven't got to yet. We have 3 more shelves on this bookcase. And I can't do that. I'll do that as soon as I'm done with this bookcase, which renders invalid everything that we have seen on this bookcase. But I won't do it now. We'll finish up now. So that is the next installment. The next installment of whatever this is cannot be done from this angle, so I'm going to have to re-angle the camera and arrange something else for down there. Tougher to do when you don't have a working tripod. I really should get online and order a tripod today. That's a purchase for BookTube. I try not to buy anything for BookTube. The more you buy for BookTube, the less it's a hobby, the less it's friendly and fun, and the more it's a job that you've sunk labor into. I always want to tell that to people who are just starting their channel. They've got 30, 40, 100 subscribers, and they go out right away and buy a high-definition camera with money that they can't easily spare. Or they go out right away and buy ring lights or whatnot. And I don't have, like, for instance, Sarah at the Bookish Knitter has lights, but she has an excuse. She lives in Canada. For God's sake. Why she's chosen to do that, I have no idea. But there's obviously no light in Canada. But I keep wanting to tell the brand new booktubers, don't spend any money. Don't do that. But A $5 tripod, I've gotten enough use out of these. I've had two now that I've broken. I've had two now that couldn't stand the strain. They are definitely worth the money. I just need to do that. I should do that today. Um, but anyway, I will figure it out and we will move on next time. So I will see you then. Thank you.